Hello, hello. Welcome to the middle of August. It's August 15th today, and it is hot, and my tree is raining tree stuff, so I apologize if I'm casually covered in tree stuff. I just finished doing yoga again. I've got my brand new olive tree, which I just bought yesterday. Yesterday was actually a really special day because I celebrated 4 years booze-free. 4 years ago on August 13th, it was Friday the 13th, I had my very last sip, plural really, sips of alcohol. And the 14th I woke up, 2021, middle of the pandemic, and I said, you know what, that's it. We're done here. I was never really good at drinking. I definitely developed like a serious wine habit, and it only escalated during the pandemic. I think a lot of people had that experience. We were all at home and we could drink, you know? And so I was until I wasn't, and I decided I've had enough of this and I would like to change my relationship with alcohol by ending it, and I did. So yesterday marked 4 years, and I spent the day with my mom and my grandma, my sister-in-law Haley, and my niece Savannah. They all came out to visit, and we all went out to the Northville Square, which is my favorite place. I absolutely love the Northville Square. It's gorgeous, and that is where I picked up this beautiful olive tree at Adorn, and I love it, and I'm just so excited. I mean, the abundance focus for August has been absolute every day. I've been having like words pop into my head, as I usually do, some of which have been like auspicious and audacious and outrageous, but it all comes back to the infinite abundance and the perpetual bliss, and the pure presence, the tapping into the moment, you know. And this mat right here takes me there every single time that I sit down to do yoga. So I'm so grateful to have this gorgeous backyard as a place to be able to roll my mat out and do the thing. And that's what we're doing. I've been very reflective today, as I was last year around this time. Last year, I actually spent my 3-year soberversary, as we call it, in alcohol-free land, in Anchorage, Alaska. And I will link that video to this one because it was so special to be there. I was on a solo trip, a very, I guess, spontaneous adventure, you could say. It was a pretty quick, I think I need to go to Alaska, book the flight, find the Airbnb, and I'm on my way to Alaska. And I didn't plan for it to be at the same time as my 3-year, you know, alcohol-free anniversary, but it just so happened that I was there on that day, and it was beautiful. It was perfect. So yesterday was also beautiful and perfect, and I couldn't think of a better way to spend it than with my mom and my grandma and Haley and Savannah. So I was just absolutely thrilled and overjoyed, overflowing with gratitude that they came out and spent the day with me. Such a special day and a gorgeous day. I mean, the weather has been absolutely beautiful. When they arrived, Savannah, my niece, she's 2, and she's just brilliant and amazing. And she was running around my house like she loves to do, and she went into the office because I was going around closing my windows to turn on the AC before I left. And I have a pile of paintings because one of my pandemic activities, as we all had, you know, like puzzles and whatever, a lot of people made bread. I never went that route, but one of the things that I did do was paint, and my pandemic paintings are stacked against one of the walls in my office because I'm still not sure what I'm going to do with them. And Savannah was looking at them, and she's 2, and I showed her a couple, and then she pointed to this one and she said, eyes. And I was like, oh, like I hadn't looked at it and saw eyes before, but I just thought it was so adorable that she looked at it and immediately said eyes. And I was like, yeah, absolutely, eyes. And so this painting, it had a whole story and like a whole meaning behind it that I had came up with when I painted it, and it's in my phone somewhere in a note from 2021, I believe, maybe no, I think it was 2021, maybe 2022, it may have been 2022, but it wasn't eyes, and now it's eyes. So thank you, Savannah, for naming this painting Eyes. I just think it's so beautiful, and she's just amazing. So I thought that was cool. You know what, maybe I did not date it anywhere. Usually I do, but I'm gonna have to look into it and see when the heck it was. My gut tells me 2021, but it very well could have been 2022, so I don't know. 2022 was also an interesting year because I took the whole year off social media as a challenge to myself to see what does life look like off of social media, and that was incredibly eye-opening. Highly recommend to anyone who feels, overwhelmed by the state of things and just being attached to social media in general. Taking a year off cleansed me and also brought me back to the presence of the moment, which is a really good place to be. Highly recommend. I also decided to wear this shirt from Lucy's in New Orleans. I believe it's on Tchoupitoulas. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's either Chop or Magazine Street or St. Charles, gosh. But I think it's on Tchoupitoulas. And Lucy's had this cool shot that's like a scorpion shot, and if you take the scorpion shot, you get this shirt. And I think it was like a $20 shot or something. And back when I drank, I took the shot, but I did not drink the scorpion. I made the person I was with at the time drink that part because it scared me, but I had to get the shirt. And I wanted to wear it today because while I am celebrating 4 years alcohol-free, I had a whole life before that, I was drinking a lot, and like everywhere that I went, that was like the central thing. Everyone was drinking, and it was a good time until it wasn't for me personally, just because it never really, worked. And I know everyone's different. Everyone has a different relationship with alcohol, but I was recently thinking about it, and I was like, why was it so bad for me? And I had a chat with someone recently who asked, like, do you think you will ever reintegrate alcohol into your life? And I said, no, absolutely not. Like, no doubt I will not. And it's because when I started, like when I had a drink, it was like turning a faucet on, and I could not turn that faucet off. Like, I just wanted more and more and more and more. And one glass of wine became like 2 bottles of wine, and that's not a good place to be. So I recognized that and decided it was not a healthy way to continue to live my life, and that's why I stopped. But I just think it's important to acknowledge the fact that before I decided to quit drinking, I did very much partake in drinking and drinking culture and drinking, just the lifestyle of being a young 20-something in big cities. I lived in New York and LA and New Orleans, and I mean, not a single one of those experiences would have been what they were had I been sober. But I always say, if I could go back and change one thing, it would be drinking in college. I really wish I would not have done that. And I know I was pretty strict with myself about not drinking when I was at Grand Valley, and then I went through, my first real heartbreak, and the pain and frustration and outrage was so much that I just had a big old fuck it moment and decided to be bad, and like it was my retaliation to just get drunk and party with my friends and try as hard as I could to be bad, because I've always been the quintessential good girl, you know, and I think I still am, even though for a long period of time I definitely was not. Like, I had some bad girl phases, and I always come back to being the annoying good girl because it's just inherent. But if I could go back and change one thing, to anyone who's watching this who happens to be in college, it would be to not have drank while I was at Grand Valley. I just wish I wouldn't have. It was not ever, you know, it never really ended well. It always started fun, but it would quickly go from fun to whoa, you know, and I never really knew what was going on, or so much happened that would not have happened had I not drank. And that's for college and beyond, for college and for New York and for LA and even New Orleans and even Panama, to be honest. I mean, so many things that occurred as a result of drinking would never have happened had I not been drinking. And not in a good way, like in a very not good way. And I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to get too far into the audacity, but 4 years, no alcohol, never looking back. I mean, never going back, always looking back. I'm kind of a reflective person by nature, but very much at peace with not drinking anymore and really ever again. So that's where we're at, and we're feeling the infinite abundance and the perpetual bliss and the pure presence of the moment here in August. And thank you so much for being here with me. This was a bit of a ramble and a bit of a heartfelt one, to be honest. I guess my eyes are open. Thank you to Savannah for seeing eyes in this painting. I just think that's so cool. A 2-year-old looked at this for half a second and said eyes. Talk about a brilliant kid, right? She's so special. All right, thank you for being here. I will see you on the 25th. Cheers.